Hey, hey, hey. Welcome back to the Pursue You podcast with your host, Kaylin Lamar. I know it's been a while, but I am truly excited to be back with you guys. If you're new here, the Pursue You podcast is a place where personal development meets faith. And while we're here, we are actively in pursuit of everything that God has in store for us. We are in pursuit because we know that there's so much more to life. We're committed to growing and learning and to our overall well-being. This podcast was founded on the premises of Proverbs 21 and 21. Whoever pursues righteousness and unfailing love will find life, righteousness, and honor. Today, our topic is overthinking. In particular, we're going to be talking about what happens when we are paralyzed by overthinking. So, let's dive right in. I find it so interesting that things happen the way that they do. I feel like the fact that we're even here today, that I'm here today, just speaks to how incredible God is. He's so intentional. He's so good. And I'm just really glad to be back here with you guys, back in a space where I feel safe, feel like I'm able to just share my heart. And I really hope that something that I say today will help you on your journey through becoming a better version of yourself, showing up in a more authentic way. And I'd be remiss if I did not just share with you some of the current struggles that I've been dealing with, fighting, and how we even ended up taking an extended break from posting an episode or two or three or four or five, right? So, life is life. And a lot of times we get in our heads, and that's really why I wanted to talk about overthinking today. We get in our heads and we start thinking about things, especially when you're someone like me that's like analytical, very logical. Sometimes you just get in your own way. And I do know that overthinking is rooted in fear. It's rooted in uncertainty and guilt, anxiety. And when we experience overthinking for an extended period of time, it's really hard to navigate just coming out of that particular season. It does cause us to become complacent, stagnant, stuck, paralyzed, because it's just easier, or so we think. It's easier to just not do anything. It's easier to just quiet the noise by being, not answering the call that you know is on your life, not picking up and continuing to push yourself through uncertainty. That's the trick of the enemy. And the enemy does not want you or me or anyone that is called, anyone that is making an impact, making a difference, pushing the kingdom forward. He does not want us to know just how important we are to this movement, just how important it is that we keep pushing and keep going. So he uses these tactics. He uses our minds, our thought processes, our personalities, the way that trauma has impacted us. Like, he uses all of these things against us. And it causes inaction. It causes silence. It causes us to really avoid and go the opposite direction in which we know we're supposed to go in. And it's really a dangerous place to be. It's one thing to overthink one situation or one event that you're planning or one thing that you struggle with. It's another thing to let overthinking become a lifestyle and push you out of your destiny. The enemy, he would love it if we all were leaning into nurturing our doubts and fears and focusing more on what we see instead of what we don't see, instead of the God that's in us, instead of the ways that God has moved and the things that God has done in our lives. And when he does that, he is very strategic about these little seeds. He just sprinkles, he nurtures, he waters, and he watches it begin to start sprouting and become something that stops us in our tracks. It's like weeds that are overgrown in the garden that was once planted and beautiful and thriving. Now the weeds have overtaken it. You no longer see those beautiful flowers. Now all you see is everything except for what originally started out, the thing, the plant, the podcast, the moments in which you have really pushed and focused on everything that God has imparted in you. You no longer see those things because you're so busy seeing the weeds. Well, today I'm here to stop the enemy in his tracks and to let him know that he has no dominion over me, over what God has placed in me. And I'm excited to be back. I really am. I can't tell you how many thoughts I've had, how many times I've just almost called it completely quits, how many times I've put myself on the back burner in conversations, just avoiding this topic altogether of why I'm not recording, why I'm not going live, why I'm not sharing with my community. And I'll tell you, it's been an interesting time. It's been an interesting journey. But God has revealed, even in this season, He's so intentional. Even in this season, He has revealed to me so many things about myself. And He has reminded me of just how loved I am and just how important it is that I continue to push through and not give up. And He gives me grace and mercy that I don't deserve. And so I really am truly grateful. So that's really the first thing I want to share with you. Like, if you're someone in the same type of season, maybe you know that there's something you're supposed to be doing. Maybe you know that there's a call on your life. Maybe you know that you have more in you, but you've overthought this thing. Guess what? God is still here. And He is a God of grace. He is a God that can forgive you and you can move forward. You do not have to stay where you are just because you've been there for a while, just because you don't think that you can move forward, because you think God is upset or mad or like, oh my gosh, I know I should have been doing this. We create these narratives so much for ourselves that aren't necessarily even true. So just getting yourself out of your own head, getting to the point where you recognize that God is a big God. And even though we don't always do our parts, He's always going to do His. He's always going to forgive us. And we can't take that for granted. And I'm not saying, hey, just don't do it ever and just think that He's just going to forgive you. We got to read our word and make sure we understand that He's a God of vengeance. He is a God that's a father, right? So there are fatherly things that will ensue if we do not do our parts. But when we're in a season of overthinking, when we're in a season of just really not wanting to lean in, or just being stressed or overly in our heads about things, He's a God of grace and He still loves us. And we still have another chance. As long as you have breath in your body, you have another chance to start anew, to keep tapping in, to try again, to get back up and dust yourself off. And so the first thing I want to kind of sit with today is the power of revelation. So in Psalms 139 and 23, the Bible tells us, search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. And that was written by David, of course. And when I think about this, I think about the fact that, like, a lot of times we close ourselves off to being searched because we're nervous about what God's going to find. We might even be nervous about what we're going to find, or we push things back on the back burner. We put things in those hard to reach spots, or the places where nobody's going to look. But let me tell you, God already knows. He already knows. It's up to us, though, to open ourselves up to seeing what He sees, the way He sees. Because His ways are not our ways, and His thoughts are not our thoughts. And since that is so, we have to allow Him the chance to see us, the vulnerable parts of us, the surrendered parts of us, the parts of us that nobody else may even understand or know, because that gives Him that intimate relationship with us that He so desperately desires. He wants you to choose Him. He wants you to pick Him. He wants you to ask Him to be with you, to dwell in you, to search you, to know your heart. But the only way that can happen is if you do your part and you open yourself up to receiving what it is He wants to reveal to you. Because I'm here telling you, like, He wants to talk to you. He wants to reveal things to you. He wants you to see certain things the way that He needs you to see them, so that you can move forward, so that you can keep going, so that you can push past these uncertainties that overthinking brings you. The second thing I want you to sit with is 2 Corinthians 10, 5 through 6. It says, the weapons we fight are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish strongholds, arguments, and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God. And we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. So, thoughts, so many thoughts. Sometimes, I'll be honest, sometimes I just live in my thoughts. Sometimes I just don't even allow myself a chance to think, be anywhere else other than my thoughts. Sometimes I'll be present in certain places and I'll just be thinking over my thoughts, letting my thoughts just overwhelm me at times. And that's something I think, I know I'm not the only one that struggles with it, but I know that it's something that the enemy uses. He uses that. Like, that's why we have to refocus. So we talked a second ago about reveal and revelation. We have to refocus next. Once we have done that and we are able to take those thoughts captive, anything that's not of God, anything that is not like God, we have to take those thoughts captive and make them obedient to Christ. That means that whatever we're thinking that's negative, we have to reframe. We have to, hey, I know a lot of times, because I'm an educator, right? So when I allow my students to introduce themselves to me, like at the beginning of the school year, I ask them if they're a part of any organizations or plan to play any sports at the school. And a lot of times they'll say, no, I don't play anything. I'm not a part of anything. And my reply is always, yet. And sometimes they get confused. But it's a way to help them see, like, maybe you're not a part of the baseball team yet, but you plan to try out, right? That's worth something. Maybe you haven't joined Key Club, but it's something you might be interested in, so you haven't done it yet. That's okay. The power of yet is definitely something that I really encourage you to lean into, because when we focus so much on the way we see things or the current state that things are in, we don't give ourselves the space to open our hearts to the possibilities of the future, what could happen, what is happening. And so I really encourage you to make sure that you not let the thoughts rule you, but let Christ that's within you rule and reign. The third thing I want to talk to you about is renewal. Romans 12:2. I know we know this one very well. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. I don't know about you, but I definitely would prefer God's will over mine. It says here that it's good, it's pleasing, it's perfect. And that's far more than anything I could even want for myself. Although I might think that I know what's good for me, what might even please me naturally in the fleshly, right? But it can never be perfect, because God's will is perfect. And if I'm thinking that I'm perfect, or that my will for my life is perfect, that means I'm negating God's will for me. And I never want that. And I think a lot of times when we overthink, we are standing in the way of God's will being able to be performed, being able to get to the point where our thoughts and our minds are so focused on what we think instead of focusing on what God thinks, what God wants. And we cannot allow overthinking to take over and be the Lord of our lives, be the ruler of our lives. And so I know that this has been kind of a short but sweet conversation. And in this, I really hope that you take something away from this. I hope that you're able to see just how important it is to not be paralyzed by overthinking, to not allow overthinking to rule and reign in your life, but to allow God to rule and reign in your life. So instead of choosing to overthink, I encourage you to take action despite the uncertainty, despite the imperfection, despite what things may look like through your eyes, and allowing God a chance to reveal to you what He wants you to see, allowing God the chance to shift and refocus those overwhelming thoughts you may be having, and to renew your mind, renew your spirit, renew your heart. I love you guys, and I'm so glad that you have decided to be a part of this incredible community. I hope that you will share this with someone. I hope that you will let me know what parts of this episode resonated with you. I hope that you will join us over in the Pursue You private Facebook group where I am. Look, I'm telling y'all, I'm turning it back up. I'm here. I'll be going live each week sharing. Right now we're going to be in the Abide series, and I'll be sharing what it is God has laid on my heart. And I am excited, and I hope that you will join us over there. I have put the links in the description, so don't hesitate to click the subscribe button so you can see whenever I post. I love y'all. I hope you have an incredible rest of your day, and remember to take care of yourself, because if you don't, no one else will. Bye.